Do I have a motion to accept the agenda?
So moved.
Motion
Second.
by Mr. Lawrence, second by Mr. Tisdale. Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous vote. Mayor's report.
No report.
No departmental reports. Move on to council report. Mr. Lawrence?
Report.
Mr. Demme?
Nothing.
Okay. Then we'll move on to public agenda.
Public
Policy.
hearing to provide the general public with an opportunity to comment on the taxing and spending plan for the city fiscal year ending 2019 of October and ending September 30th, 2020.
Okay, so we're having a public hearing, and if there's any comments from the public that would like to speak in favor of this budget, please come forward. Anyone in opposition? Okay. Did you have anything to present?
I do.
Okay.
One of the things the mayor would like to do, I have the 4 exhibits that are the exhibits that will go out and be voted on after the next session. These are the standard 4 exhibits that we usually have. They are capital project plan, the revenue schedule, the all department summary, and the all funds report. Those are the 4 exhibits that at least the 3 years I've been doing this, that we've given you and that you voted on. But one of the things the mayor wanted, we want to summarize that down to 1 sheet. All of that. Like we did last week. All of that into 1 sheet. This is that 1 sheet.
Okay.
We hand those out. I'm going to give you the 4 exhibits. But the mayor wanted to start off with this 1 single sheet.
You haven't missed anything.
When you last saw the budget, our 4th budget workshop, we showed an $8 million starting cash balance. That's the cash balance we hope to finish with this year. And we showed an ending balance of $4.3 million. The only difference between then and now in this final budget is that the ending cash balance has changed to $4.1 million. 4.3 to 4.1. The explanation of the difference is the $200,000 difference between when you last saw this and today is very easily explained. The major item was that we're gonna have to make a second payment on the fire station number 7 in this budget year. 2 weeks ago, we got an invoice for $371,000 for the first invoice for that fire station. We pushed that back to SMPDD and reminded them that we were not required to pay anything on the fire station until we took occupancy. They agreed, they made the payment, so we just budgeted that payment into this new fiscal year. So we'll have to make 2 payments this first year. So that's an increase of $371,000. We also made a change, several changes in the non-department budget based on your last workshop. We reduced the insurance from 2.9 to 2.7 million based on the recommendations of Frank Bordeaux, our broker. So that was $200,000 down. And we also made, based on your recommendations, changes in CTA and the library. You add those together, the decreases and the increase of 371, it was a delta of about 200,000. That's the 200,000 difference you see in the ending fund balance.
Let me jump in and say one thing too about the reduction in the 2.9 to 2.7. And I think we talked about having a quarterly update as experience rolls out in order to, if our experience, probably the 3rd quarter, an amendment could be made if that indeed jumps over 2.7. Is that fair?
So with that is is clearly something we would have to watch. You'll remember that each quarter this year, I've given you a handout that was the result of our medical insurance, self-insurance, and showed you how we were doing as we went through the year. In this particular year, we stayed positive through half the year and then went negative in the last quarter. What the mayor's saying is that we will do the same thing this year, but if we go negative at any point in the year, we'll adjust at that point and not wait till the end. So if, for example, we're running $100,000 to the bad on our medical self-insurance at the end of the first quarter, we'll do a budget amendment and move $100,000 from the general fund into the self-insurance fund. So we'll try and keep that balance as we go through the year. But other than what I just talked about, the budget is exactly as it was presented at our last workshop. And the big numbers can be captured. The big numbers are a $59.3 million revenue in the general fund, a $60 million expense in the department funds, a $4.7 million expense in all non-departments, and it brings in a total of $65 million in expenses against basically a $60 million in revenue, which brings us $4 to $5 million negative against an $8 million starting balance, which leaves us with $4.1 million in cash at the end of the year. That's the big picture. And at this point, I would say, having given you the big picture, what questions do you have?
Questions? Mr. Lawrence, do you have any questions?
Yeah, these numbers in the petty fund and that, they almost identical every year for 3 years in a row. That's the way they, where'd you get those numbers from?
Which numbers? Tell me again,
On the
Council.
general fund, you got, 10, 3, 10, 3, 10 million, 10 million, or whatever, the 10,000.
And you're referring to the,
On the general fund, all these numbers are identical. I was just wondering,
The petty, general fund petty, it's on there.
yeah. Well, all of them. They're all the 3 years in a row, they're exactly the same thing. I mean, it's possible. Well, you start with that, or we ended with that, or how we get that?
That must be budget, not actual.
The general fund, you got fund other, the petty, refund, yeah. And that don't fluctuate at all? I mean, 3 years in a row, they're the same thing. Yeah, 10,000, was, you got 16, 17, and 18.
You got a dollar in
Whatever the other fund is, gotta put something in it.
Say that again?
That's just the different petty cash funds that we have throughout the city. And we replenish it, as needed. They account for it. We do a quarterly audit of the petty cash. It's the petty cash. They have small purchases that they have to make that really doesn't warrant writing a purchase order for, or they need it immediately, and it's yes, we do. Y'all approve that at the first, I think it's the first council meeting in the new fiscal year.
Any other questions?
Time, just checking them.
What was our final number with the library? The final number with the library, you said we reduced.
The
707.
library was reduced in the non-department budget to 707, 707,000, and the CTA was reduced to 288,000.
I would love to get a copy of those historically, the 4 documents we usually see.
I had planned to pass them out.
This would be a good time. Thank you.
Let me,
Do you have a special time?
first thing coming down is the revenue statement. The next one coming down is the all funds summary. Next is the summary of the departments. Last, which you haven't seen today is the capital projects list. It's simply a list of all our capital projects.
Subject to approval.
And
They're all
that's
approved.
right, they're in the budget. These are all approved capital. There are no new projects that you haven't seen.
Kill a couple of trees here.
Obviously not. So does anyone have any questions, or they got more, need more time? Just asking.
No, I have a question.
Sure.
Do we expect any of these figures to change between, and I'm thinking at our next council meeting, we'll adopt the budget, correct?
At the next council meeting, we would adopt the budget. The budget would then be published. And the first time it's going to be changed is when we do the revised budget at the end of the, at the end of the year, in the first month of the new quarter.
Right.
We would issue a revised budget with any
Right.
changes that, and let's face it, we have changes every day. The mayor was asking me earlier about why seniority, the payments for seniority pay would change in the last 2 weeks. Well, every time somebody leaves that's getting seniority pay and somebody new comes in that's not getting seniority pay, it's the actual
Right.
changes. We have police and fire who are automatically promoted at certain points in their career. These are ongoing every day.
Somewhere else?
So between now and the 1st of October, there are going to be more changes.
Right, you'll have those typical, as you said, the day-to-day things, but we don't anticipate anything other than that to change. We're pretty good with the numbers now, right?
None known.
Okay.
We could also get a grant that was unanticipated, and that coit change some things as well. So, yep,
And there are several that we've applied for that
right.
could be title as money and so forth.
Could somebody email me a PDF copy of each of these 4 documents? I don't know what PDF stands for, but I'd like Portable document format, yeah. Anyway, Mr. Metallo's here, I could ask him. Hey, boy, would he tell me. But anyway, yeah, I'd appreciate if somebody could do that in the next.
I'd be happy to take each of these documents and send them to the whole council directly.
Yeah, that's fine.
I got a question.
There's more than one that, okay,
Oh, yeah.
okay. Anyway, he was a delight. No, I'm good with all this. I don't have any more questions.
I had one question, Mike. Where's the insurance listed on here? A self-insure. Say what?
What's that?
Why you put them together?
What's he asking?
Where is talking about property insurance or talking about hospitalization built in? It's within the personal services part of the
Now, I'm talking about the $12 million, the self-insurance. You put that 12 million into what?
Well, it's 11 point something, and that includes medical insurance and other.
No. I don't like them put together. I mean, that self-insurance fund, that thing is totally different than paying property insurance. That's 2.7, 2.9 million. That's different. I'm talking, we gotta find out how we are with the self-insurance, what we spend, what it costs, and what it takes to run. So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I like to have that broke down like it's usually, just to show where it's at, to make sure we're gonna make it or not make it. We're trying not to change anything, but I can't tell you about this thing. I'm talking about the self-insurance. It always runs around 12 million, from 12 to 12 and a half million.
What's the total? 7 million? Same, the 7.4, same, yeah.
$11 million spread over each one of the 9 departments. Within personal services, within the street mayor jail, that's where it's spread.
But
You know, I don't know why we moved it out of the other thing. It's a lot easier to keep it up on this big sheet. So I gotta find it where? Well,
yeah, he's looking for the. You remember the chart that I would put out each quarter that showed the amount of insurance and then how much the claims and costs were. That, if you'll recall that chart for this year, it was 7.4 million. That's essentially the same amount of money we've got budgeted again this year, 7.4 million. Will we hit 7.4? We may go a little bit over it this year. Don't know how we're going to do next year, but as we were talking earlier, we tend to, we're going to adjust each quarter as we go through. So that 7.4 million is made up of two things. It's made up of the money that the city contributes, that's built into the wages and salaries, and it's made up of the amount the employees contribute. Those two combined equal the 7.4 million that is the revenue that we bill against as we go through the year. And it goes into that kitty one payroll at a time.
Right, and basically, correct me if I'm wrong, but basically what we've agreed to do is continue with insurance, the insurance committee, continue as we've done this year, continue that next year. The difference will be that we're looking at these numbers and we're going to be encouraging and meeting by departments to encourage folks to participate in those wellness activities that are currently offered by Blue Cross Blue Shield. I think, and y'all were there for the meeting, I'm just kind of summarizing, just to be sure that employees are participating. As I remember, Si said it was participation driven, not necessarily goal or objective driven. The idea was to get employees to participate, but if the numbers don't look better, because we're upside down on insurance, we're pulling, what, 350, 400,000 from somewhere, from out of the general fund, basically to stabilize that fund. So what we're trying to do is get more employees going the wellness route, participating in those activities, watching their blood pressure, their blood sugar, their cholesterol, that kind of stuff. And that's right, Mayor. And there will be a team, an administrative team, if you will, that's going to go department by department. Correct? Is that an accurate summary, Mike?
That is, the insurance subcommittee met several times with our broker. We received no recommendations about any reductions or any increases in
Correct.
in employee or employer contributions. So that kitty stays the same. The only recommendation that came from the council's subcommittee was to participate in this healthy lifestyle program, which we hope will drive down claims.
Right, that we hope, but this is in fact, and I think Mr. Lawrence will back me up, this next year, fiscal year 20, is really better described as a transition year in watching the numbers and having people participate in the wellness activities so that we can drive some of these costs down, because we cannot continue to bear these costs or to offer all of these options. Something's got to give. We've been pretty lucky in past years, except for the current year that we're in now. It's not been a good year, and I think sometimes most employees forget that we are the insurance company. You know, all they see are the co-pays, and there's a big chunk of money that we as an insurance company, the city and the employees pay, but most folks never see that amount. That's a big number. So anyway, I just wanted that on the record tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
So at this point, that's our story. That's right. That's the budget as the administration is proposing. It will we'll have another chance for the public to see it when we have our next council meeting. You'll get it one last time and have another chance to answer any questions you may have or make any suggestions.
When might I get a copy of these documents in a PDF format?
I'll do it before I go home.
Well, you don't have to do it that quick.
I can.
As a member of Guy Club, you can take another 24 hours if you like. Okay.
With that, that ends our report. Over to you.
Second.
Aye.